Burton Albion, a club which makes the impossible possible.
The home of the Busby Babes and the class of '92.
This is a place where dreams do come true.
Manchester United back to their winning ways.
Burton Albion are a championship club.
The League Cup for a fifth time.
This club, this team, they have no fear.
Yes, it is very much the Giants against the Minnows here tonight, and even with 9 changes to the Manchester United starting 11 from that game against Everton on Sunday, this is still a massively talented group of players. Jose Mourinho deciding to give his fringe players a real chance tonight as he bids to lift this cup for a 5th time and become the competition's most successful manager outright. And this is a competition that the name Clough used to absolutely dominate. Brian, who passed away 13 years ago today, won it 4 times as a manager. His son Nigel won it twice as a player. And now the Burton boss has a chance to do what he couldn't do in the FA Cup 11 years ago and plot United's downfall on their own turf. And like United, they also made plenty of changes. 9 as well. Wow. So the holders begin the defence of their trophy that they won for a 5th time back in February. It's Manchester United against Burton Albion live from Old Trafford, with the draw for the last 16 of the Carabao Cup to come a little later this evening. And when they met in the FA Cup 11 years ago, there were 101 places between these two sides. Now it's down to 37, which just underlines Burton's meteoric rise through the leagues over the last few seasons. But they have a meteoric task tonight, because United so far this season here at Old Trafford have scored 13 times and have yet to concede. With us to enjoy this one, it's all welcome to Phil Neville and also to the former Burton player and manager Gary Rowett. Gentlemen, a very good evening. Nice to see you. Gary, let's just talk about this from a Burton perspective. A lot of changes we'll talk about shortly, but now that they're in the 2nd tier compared to 11 years ago, I know you missed out because of a hamstring that time. Does it still, a night like this, mean just as much?
I think so. I think it means just as much, but I suppose the period of time they've had since that day would make it perhaps not quite so big an event. I think at the time Burton took more away fans to Old Trafford than I think any other team. I'm sure they were
11,000 record.
Yeah, and I think it was a record, wasn't it? So is it still a record? I don't know, but I think that showed the magnitude of that game right there then. And like you say, at that time, that basically solidified Burton and their financial situation for up until this period. But it's still a big game. It's still a huge thing for the town, and I'm sure for the players, but I think probably the edge taken off just slightly, maybe.
Yeah, before any Coventry fans get in touch, they have the outright record for away fans visiting Old Trafford. But you mentioned those changes, 9 in all. Look, we're used to teams across all divisions making plenty of changes, but even you surprised that it's that many?
A little bit, but we spoke about it earlier. It's a really difficult conundrum, because I think if you've got 3 games the next week, I'm sure Nigel's got his eye on those 3 games. Of course, the Championship's a priority. If you're Burton, as much as you want to come here and be as competitive as possible, you could go and put your first team out and still get beaten by a very, very strong United side. So it's a real dichotomy in terms of what do you do, and I don't think there's any right or wrong. But again, like you say, over the years, if you'd have seen a team like Burton make 9 changes at Old Trafford, you'd probably be slightly surprised. I made 11 the other week. It was the wrong thing. We lost again.
Barnsley knocking you out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about United, because it was a year ago we were at Northampton Town, Phil, and we were looking at where this competition sat for Mourinho in his first season in charge. We very much saw it as a building block to success. He won it. He won the Europa League as well. Where does it sit this season?
Well, last year it was a springboard, and I think this year it's every bit as important. I think Jose Mourinho is probably unlike most managers. He measures his success off winning medals, winning trophies, and I think with the start that they've made, especially, I think he'll want to keep the momentum going tonight. It's important for the players, because some of these players haven't played yet this season, so it's a shop window for them as well. Yeah,
Carrick, the likes of him getting minutes, Herrera as well, Lindelof starts as well tonight. And you look at that starting 11, 7 appeared in the League Cup final against Southampton. This would pose a big problem to any Premier League side, let alone a 2nd tier side.
Oh, it's a top half Premier League side without a shadow of a doubt, and I think this is why Jose likes his competition, because it'll be able to give Lindelof experience. Carrick's his first start. Herrera, player of the season last year, hasn't played many games already this season, so it's an advantage for United to have this competition, and to do well in it. It breeds confidence, and I think out of all the 4 competitions, I think he doesn't prioritise any. I think he just wants to win all 4.
And for your side, there's that real pressure to make sure that they try and keep in the Championship for another season. With all those changes here at Old Trafford in a game, they're not expected to win. Is the pressure very much on for the players that do head out there to start?
I think so, and there's some younger players in that team as well, the likes of Matty Palmer and Jamie Allen that signed recently from Rochdale. So it'd be a great experience for those type of players and to pit their wits a little bit against such opposition. But you're right. I think Nigel mentioned it. There's not really any pressure. They've got to come and try and enjoy it. What you don't want to do is you don't enjoy particularly coming to a place like this and getting a hiding. That's for sure. That's not an enjoyable experience. No matter what anybody says. So I think they want to be competitive. I'm sure they'll have to be careful about how early they open up the team shape, if you like, but they'll want to come here and make a game of it. But it's going to be a really, really difficult evening. There
were 11 third-round ties in all last night. There are a further 4 in addition to this one tonight. This is what's happening elsewhere. Arsenal, who never won this trophy under Arsene Wenger, are at home to League One Doncaster Rovers, who are now the only third-tier side remaining in the competition. The 5 times winners Chelsea at home to Nottingham Forest, Everton meets Sunderland, and Manchester City, who scored 15 unanswered goals in their last 3 games, travel to West Brom. We'll keep you updated with all of those games throughout the evening. And in terms of both Manchester clubs, they are really racking up the numbers as far as goals are concerned this season. But how do Manchester United and Burton Albion compare in terms of numbers? There is a chasm of difference. Look at that turnover for United the season before last, 515.3 million. For Burton Albion, 4.24 million. Stadium capacity 75,643. When the last census was taken back in 2011, you could fit Burton's population inside the stadium. Record signing Lukaku 9.25 million, Liam Boyce 500,000. And this is what it's all about, boys. Facebook likes 74 million. It's a little bit like comparing Phil, your and Gary's Twitter accounts.
Is that important?
There's a chasm of difference.
What's a Facebook like?
Do you not know?
No.
Come on. You know your
social
media.
Is that important? I can't believe we're showing that stat.
Hey, it's a fair point. Listen,
it's
we put it on
some
there.
People.
Yeah, believe me,
it's a player.
The younger ones out there will be delighted with that. Listen, I wonder what Ben Robinson, the chairman, thinks of this one. He's been delighted with the progress this club have made in his second spell at the club, and he's been speaking to Guy Havord.
Ben, have you got the dream that all Football League chairmen dream of, United away?
Certainly, every club, from the lower leagues wants to play the mighty Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, and we know coming here, you're going to get a fantastic attendance, and great experience, and we're so lucky, looking back, to play Manchester United 4 times in 11 years. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, you reckon the last time, and indeed the manager believes the last time, it sort of changed the whole profile of the club in 2006?
Yeah, it did. We built a new stadium, the Pirelli Stadium, and spent 7.4 million. But there was an overspend, and from the 2 games we earned 800k, which paid off the building of the stadium, which meant we had a brand new stadium with no debt, which is fantastic.
Can it create another dream tonight and win?
Well, we're going to try. Obviously, in those days, we were playing in the football conference and the Championship. But look, realistically, if we play Manchester United, we'd struggle to beat the second team, and I'm being realistic, not pessimistic, So we're here tonight to enjoy it. Obviously, the players are going to try. Nigel will get them fired up, try and get something out of the game. And obviously, with a great attendance here and the TV fee, which thank you very much, Guy. We're going to make a few bob.
Enjoy tonight.
Thank you.
Gary, were you aware at the time and when you went on to manage the club just how important financially, how important for the club those meetings between United and Burton Albion were all those years ago?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was training with a club at the time. I think we played Skelmersdale before that game, and we knew that if we beat Skelmersdale, we would go through to play Man United. So there was a lot of pressure on that game. I actually come on for the last 25 minutes. I'd like to say I did fantastic well, but I don't think I did. And Nigel actually said to me afterwards, "Do you want to play at Old Trafford?" And I was coaching at Derby. We had a Youth Cup quarter final at the time, and I couldn't. But you kind of got the enormity after it, and it was something that you don't really think about as a manager sometimes. But you can talk about league games, but sometimes this cup offers teams the opportunity to not only progress and expose to games like this, but actually secure their future for a long, long time. And that one game was pivotal to anything Burton have done since. And I remember, I think, in the first game at the Man United, in the last something like 20 minutes, brought on Rooney and Ronaldo. And you can almost see them think, oh no, don't bring them on because we want a replay, and they wanted a replay. They almost didn't want to score themselves because it was so important to get that replay, and it was a huge moment for the club's history.
Fans thinking, bring them on, but please don't score. What a moment that was for the club. And what a moment it is for Burton again tonight. It's only their 9th ever season in the League Cup. Tonight, though, what a big task they had. Even with those challenges, they're up against the defending champions of the League Cup. We'll continue our build-up in a couple of minutes' time.